Hey, welcome back to my bus restoration. This is episode 11, and in this episode, what I want to start doing is straighten out the rear hatch area, and I'm going to mock up these panels, this right rear corner, in the structured pieces and the battery tray I got from BBT. Really nice stuff. So I want to get that clamped in, and then I can start getting the lines right for the rear corners. So I want to hook up the puller, and then we can start pulling the back half. Once I get this area looking nice, then I'll just move forward and start getting the rest of the bus straightened out. So it's the last little bit that's going to be the final challenge and the difficult part, but it's looking pretty good. So follow along and let's get to work. And I'm gonna get some clamps and vice grips, and we'll start clamping all this together. These are some of the panels I got from BBT, and what I want to do is get the battery tray in place, get the main structure piece all just clamped together, and then this is going to get welded onto the cargo area, but it's also welded here. Here's a little piece of the old one. So I'll cut that one off, and then I can get this whole back area mocked up right while I'm still doing the final pulling on the driver's side. Straighten that out. I may have done this moving this panel around. If you don't have a pair of these pliers, looking to get a pair, this is a Nitpic's brand, and they are an awesome plier. It's a smooth jaw, and just you press that button and it'll lock where it needs to be. I use these for straightening pieces of sheet metal out all the time, or just working on the car. These are just awesome pliers. They have different sizes, and they're just a great plier. And they're really strong. That's better. There we go. I must have hit that, moving it around, and caused that little divot. There we go. Okay. I'll need a little bit more finessing. Now let's see if I can get the battery tray in. Okay, let me cut off this extra piece from the last one, get that out of the way, and then I can start fitting this one up. The spot weld right there. Let me drill that. You can see it was brazed right there, so let me sand this down a little bit. I think there's a tab on it. Or it probably has a tab like that. This one should be bent down like that, the bottom one. That overlaps. Let me knock that down a little bit. All right, so I straightened this bottom one out. It looks like it's supposed to be like this, and the top one overlaps. The clamp's going to be in the way there. I'm going to have to change that up. There we go. Clamp it right there. Let's see what kind of clamp I got. Maybe we'll hold off on that. Oh yeah, we're way too far out. Okay. So I gotta cut more of this inner structure. It's got to come in quite a bit. Yeah. All right, I got this side clamped in. I want to start pulling the bus this corner and tighten up this gap. I have this attachment. I bought this at a swap meet and I thought, well, this will work out perfect for my puller. I bought this right as I was making this. There was a swap meet that Sunday and I found this there. So let's try this attachment and see how it does. Pulling it good. Let's see, you know, and I'll have to go past and then it relaxes back. So I gotta go a little bit past it and then try to find the happy medium where it stays right where it needs to be. Let me go a little more. Yes, that's pulling nice. What I have is a board. I put it on the inside, right where that flange is, in between the two flanges. So this foot is not pushing directly against the metal of the bus. Well, let's see what happens when I take the pressure off, because now it's touching here, and we'll go back and forth with it and see what it does. That side I'm not worried about yet. I just want to have it hung. Let's just see where we're at with this. Yes. Okay, so let's go past it quite a bit. And maybe I'll even open the hatch. Okay, I did a couple pulls on this and it's looking better, but one thing I did notice on these structural pieces going across is this one's crumpled right here. When this got smashed over, it crumpled this. So I want to straighten that out. This one looks okay, but I want to straighten that one out. And then another thing I want to do is I have nothing holding the bottom besides the battery tray when that gets clamped in for this corner. So I want to cut this. I'm reusing some of these pieces. This is off the old structural piece. So I want to cut this out and then I can put this in and then attach this corner to that. So we'll get that going. That way I have a good reference. And then I'll also, once that piece is in, then I can bolt in the rear apron. And that's gonna really give me a good reference point for where the lower half of these corners should be. And then I can just keep moving my way up and getting these lines really nice. So let me spend a little time taking these pieces off, and probably even these little pieces here, like this little stop that gets bolted on here. So let me do that, and then we'll continue straightening this thing out. All right, here's a little better look at these pieces I gotta take off. Some of this was, you can see, kind of cobbled together when they did that repair from one of the accidents. But it's still good pieces. I'll just clean it up. I sandblasted the pieces I'm reusing. So, and you can see the spot welds. All right, let's start with this piece. Since I'm not worried about this piece, I can just punch it all the way through. piece right there hanging up. We'll tackle this next. All right, that'll be a little easier to take it apart now that there's less material around it. And I can grind some of this extra metal off instead of drilling the spot welds. All right, I got these pieces cleaned up and they'll be ready to be mocked up so I can continue mocking up for the lower apron. These are nice original pieces, so they should work just fine. And then I think the next step I want to do is I want to straighten this piece out right here. I might even, loosen it from the side to continue straighten this side out. But first I want to straighten this out. You can see it's crumpled right there. So let's do that. To hit this out, I think I'll show you my collection of Durlin plastic and wood that I use. So this is my collection. I got these at a swap meet. I get a lot of stuff like this at swap meets. And this is like a real hard plastic, basically, a Durlin, I think it's called. And you can grind it to different shapes you need, so then you can put it in place and you can hit it with a hammer. So you can be more accurate where you're hitting. In metal shaping, they're called caulking tools, and people sell them, and you can make your own. So these are just pieces of a really high strength plastic. So I think to straighten some of that out, we'll use this flashlight. And I can be more accurate when I hit, so I can put it right on there. And then let's pull, actually this side needs it too. I'll put my earmuffs on. The whole thing's echoing inside here. And then I'll use the stud welder and we'll pull this out. So you can see right there, I'm gonna hit that up. And this just gives me a more accurate way of hitting it. Instead of just hitting it with a hammer and I might miss and hit the roof skin, I can put that right on there. The slide started to go out. The vibration. Oh, it's getting loose. All right, now let's weld some studs right here so I can pull that out. I'm gonna clean the paint off. So I'll probably weld a couple of studs in here. I'll start with that. Put my earmuffs back on. Sometimes it does leave a little bit or damage the material a little bit, but you can see it pulling it out. It's a handy tool when you can't get behind something. off pretty easy. You can see it's taking shape. Okay, I got this piece straightened out. So now let's continue with the rear corner and clamp up those pieces that I cut off the old corner, and then get the rear apron in place and just keep trucking along on this back half. All right, I took the corner back off because I noticed this little flange is still in place from the old corner. It gets sandwiched in between these two pieces of metal, and that was keeping me from getting this corner in place where it needs to be. So this inside piece of metal, I need to get that out. So I'm going to cut that out, and then I can hopefully slide this corner in to its proper location. All right, let's see if we get this corner in place where it should be. All right, I want to start clamping this piece in, but the only problem is there's no good spot to put a clamp and still be able to close your hatch. So I think what I'm going to do, there's already a hole on this inside piece. I'll drill a hole in this one and then fit it in place, mark it on here, drill it, and then I can put a cleco on the inside, and that way there's no clamps in the way and I can still close the hatch. All right, I got that cleat in place. You can see the cleat goes on the inside. And that will hold it in place. First thing I noticed once I got this in place, and I kind of wondered, but this corner is in a little bit. That's gonna have to come out. And I got a little bit of a gap here still. But it's nice getting pieces mocked up on here to see it coming together. It's a good feeling to see that. All right, this is what I have set up. I'm gonna use my puller to pull this corner, and I'm just pushing off the cart that the bus is sitting on. It's pulling it really easy. That tongue that sticks out, it was kind of like settling down, and once that settled on the floor, then it started pulling this out really good. Yeah, it's working good. I'm gonna loosen it and see how far it returns back, and then I can go back and forth with it. Did I get it on the first shot? Looks a lot better. I'm gonna stop right there. I don't wanna go too far. That's looking really good. It might have to go a hair more. Let me hold this piece up and just get a good look at it. It's really hot out today. It's gonna be 96 degrees. I think just a hair more. Bring it in a little bit. I thought about putting a spring return on this, but it was one of those things where I don't know how much more I'm going to use this setup after the bus is done. I made this specifically for fixing the bus. But I don't know, I might improve on it and just take it apart and put it out of the way and save it for future projects. All right, I got this set up. I have the puller set up with the strap going all the way around the roof. And the reason for that is I want to pull the roof over to the driver's side a little bit. If you've seen one of the previous videos, I talked about how this gutter from right here to about here is over to the right about 1/2 of an inch. I've been able to pull it over a little bit from pulling from the gutter, but now I want to try to pull the whole roof section with most of the force in this section. So I attach these 2 pieces of wood. I'm just going to attach them together with some sheet metal so they don't come apart. And that way it doesn't damage the skin. It's really pushing right where the gutter is. That's really a really strong spot. There's a lot of overlapping metal right there. So I'm going to attach these pieces of metal to keep the boards from coming apart. And that'll just keep it from pulling apart. I want to keep that force right where that gutter is. All right, let's see if we can pull it over a little bit. You can see the gap here. It's closing up, but it still has more to go. So I want to try to, like I said, pull from that gutter, and hopefully that brings the whole thing over a little bit. It's getting there. It's getting very close. Another thing I noticed is this corner should just come around and go straight. It's got a little bit of like a bulge here, and I need to hammer this in, and I'm hoping that will relax that a little bit. Overall, it's getting close. But I think I'm going to stop this video here. I appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully you like this type of content. If you do, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.